Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. With this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing a GeForce GTX 1650 4GB GDDR5 in Gray Zone Warfare. This is gonna be terrible. So this one is the Gigabyte Mini ITX OC model of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers as usual, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Up's GPU-Z. Again, it's the GDDR5 model. GDDR6 should be a little bit faster, but I think both of them can't really run this game properly. Moving on, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 5 3600X, which is the recommended requirements CPU for this game, and 32GB of RAM DDR4 3200MHz CL14 in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? And here we have it. We're 1 FPS shy of it being a 24 FPS cinematic experience, you know, at least in the menu. I'm starting at 1080p resolution, 75 FOV using the lowest settings, 100% resolution scale with TSR as well. You can't really disable this, by the way, and use like no AA, for example, or the anti-aliasing/upscaling. It's either XeSS, FSR, or TSR. I'm using TSR with 100% resolution scale. Let's go. Oh my god, look at that. Look at the things loading. The amount of time it takes. Holy. But we're all loaded now, and yes, these are the lowest settings in this game. By the way, it doesn't look like low at all, aside from like my gloves, which are absolutely terrible. I'm wondering if they're still loading, actually. But everything else is kind of loaded, I think, and it gets 10 frames per second, guys. The 1650 at 1080p lowest settings gets 10 FPS, and sometimes it drops down to single digits. Look at that, 9 frames. Oh my god. That is so awful. Also, we need to grab some weapons, of course. I learned that I can just tab and go into the inventory, and we have all of this to pick up. You know, we can choose whatever we want. Previously, I was going with the knife alone, you know, only the knife and killing the enemies, grabbing their weapons and stuff. Oh boy, it was great. The experience like that was great, but it's much better to actually have some decent weapons, right? Anyway, what's not better at all is the performance out here compared to like the menu, the star. Just look at this, look at this. Oh my god, it literally stops at times. Oh boy. All right, so we need to stop it right away. Okay, that's enough. 1080p resolution testing. And you know what? The first thing that I'm gonna do is drop the FOV to 69. Yeah, that's a perfect number for the FOV. It doesn't really change much in terms of FPS, as you can see, but it makes things look a little bit better because the weapon models are just crap. It still looks very, very bad, actually. While running, it's fine, but the arm, like, what is that? Come on, they need to fix that, okay? Let's enable some FSR, my friends. This is FSR 3 in this game. I'm gonna set it to quality first. Frame generation is turned off first, okay? But I will also try it out with it on. And now we're getting 16, 15 frames per second. It looks super over-sharpened and super pixelated, especially if you move the camera around like this. Damn, it's come on. Look at the arm, man. That just doesn't feel natural at all. But yeah, you will have a lot of trouble spotting people and shooting people at 15 frames per second. And with these graphics, with FSR quality, it's not quality at all, you know? It doesn't look like quality, come on. And since pretty much everything is moving because of wind and stuff, it's all pixelated. Again, it's really, really noisy because of FSR. I really wish to see some improvement to the actual upscaler of FSR. Thanks AMD for providing like frame generation and stuff like that. That's great. And FSR actually works kind of well, like at 4K and 1440p. It's still very noisy, of course, but it works, right? At 1080p though, yeah, forget about it. I wouldn't really utilize this. Well, I guess we're halfway to playable at this point. Playable being like 30 frames per second. We're getting 15. So, yeah, not terrible. Well, no, it is terrible. Let's enable Fidelity FX frame generation right now. And okay, oof, what happened to the FOV? Oh, okay. If I crouch like this, it's just a little bit weirder. Anyway, we're getting 30 frames per second now, 29 with frame generation. Now, this might look okay, aside from the stuttering, of course, but that happens even in higher-end systems, you know? It might seem playable sometimes when it gets 30 frames per second, but it isn't, guys, because the input lag is absolutely terrible. It's probably the worst input lag that I have experienced in recent times. Holy crap. It's just, you can't really do anything like this unless you're like a sniper guy and you're taking out the person from really far away. Maybe then you have a lot of time to line up your shot and so on, and it might work with these FPS and frame generation, but no. Just don't do this. At least it's now 25 FPS, very close to the cinematic experience. So if you want to watch a movie, well, I guess this could be a movie, maybe. No, that's not... Yeah. Also, look at the bottom of the screen near the weapon. The frame generation isn't really doing that good of a job here. Look at that. It's just... Yeah, it doesn't know what to do with the weapon for some reason. It's really weird, right? Like, if I look down like that, it's even worse. Oh my god. Oh boy. Okay, so... at this point, I think everybody knows already that if you have a GTX 1650 and you want to play this game, don't. You need to upgrade your GPU, okay? Or at least wait for them to fix the performance issues, but I doubt they will improve things to the point where it's going to be playable on a 1650, right? This is well below the system requirements, or the minimum requirements actually, on the GPU side of things. Okay. Anyway, let's stop it there, and I guess I'm gonna disable frame generation and try it with like performance FSR, which is basically rendering the game at 540p resolution and upscaling it to 1080p, and it definitely looks 540p-ish whenever I am moving like this, because there is a ton of noise and pixelation everywhere. Oh my god, it is terrible. Look at that. Oh boy, and it gets 15 frames per second, so kind of the same as we've seen previously, although this is probably a little bit less intensive of an area, or maybe more intensive of an area compared to back there. But yeah, it's awful. Even with performance FSR, this is not playable. Let's enable frame generation now on top of performance FSR, and now we're getting 20s again. It's not even enough for us to get 30 FPS all of the time. Maybe at 720p with like performance FSR at the same time and frame generation, it will get 30 plus all of the time, but yeah, this is extremely terrible, once again, because of the input lag. So if you're using frame generation to achieve 30 frames per second, the input lag is going to be about half of that. So it still feels like you're turning the camera around at 15 frames per second, and the responsiveness is kind of the same as 15 frames per second, or even less than that in this case, because it's not even hitting 30 right now. But the actual smoothness, well, that's 30 FPS smooth. Oh my, look at this. Look at this. I think this is because it needs to compile the shaders on the go. Oh my god. This happened with even like the 4080 Super that I tested yesterday. There are enemies over there. I'm not sure if I want to take this fight, so I'm just gonna stop it there. Should we try ultra performance? That's like 360p, right? Upscaled to 1080p. Well, I guess this is enough now for 30 plus FPS all of the time. By the way, yeah, we're seeing a lot of lag issues and stuff like that. That's just because of the servers. It's still in early access as well, so I guess they just don't really have the servers up and running 100%, and this is what happens. That's not related to the hardware tested here today. Interestingly, yesterday it was much better, but right now people are having a lot of these server issues and lag related issues. Okay, oh my god, I can't see. Okay, there's a guy there. Oh boy. It gets even harder to see with this iron sight. Like, that iron sight is awful at these settings. Holy crap, it's so pixelated. Everything is a pixelated mess, basically. There's another one there. Wait. Hello? Hello? Are we doing this? Oh my god, let's reload. Okay. Holy crap, that's so terrible. Nope! 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 We're gonna die, guys. We're gonna die. There's somebody else shooting at us. Oh! Oh boy! I knew we were gonna die. This is terrible. Like, how am I supposed to play like this? Jesus. So bad. And now we got blurry vision and double vision at the same time because we're almost dead. Okay, well, I think we killed him, though. Somewhere around here. Yeah, he's dead right there, I think. Yeah, let's stop it there, guys. I think I'm gonna die. I kind of want to die. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna stand here losing blood and die because it's already bad enough at 360p, let alone with double vision and... You know what? I kind of want to see how TSR, the built-in upscaler in UE5, works at like 30% resolution scale. So this is the same like 360p image that we were seeing with the FSR Ultra Performance image, but it actually works a little bit better than FSR. Like the built-in upscaler in UE5, TSR, I think it looks better, guys. It's not as pixelated, you know, although it's very pixelated still around like the knife and stuff, but everywhere else, it's kind of just blurry. This is almost passable if you have like a 3-inch screen, I guess. With that said, guys, I think that's been it for this video. There's nothing you can do to make it playable unless you find 30 FPS with frame generation playable at 360p resolution. I could like lower this down to 720p. Here we go. So this is 720p with 30% resolution scale. It's even lower than 30% at 1080p, which was 360p or close to it. Things are flickering all over the place. Look at that. And we're getting 22 frames per second. Yep. 20 to 30 frames per second at what is probably like 240p or 270p, something like that. I don't know for sure, but I'll put it on the top right corner, of course, as usual. But yep, it's definitely completely unplayable. There's nothing you can do again to make it playable. I'm just going to use some FSR now on Ultra Performance. Yeah, why not? With frame generation at the same time. Now it gets around 40 frames per second with the input lag of around 20 frames per second, so it's pretty terrible. Like, there is so much delay between the mouse movement and what's happening on the game, you know, on screen. So yeah, the FPS themselves might look playable, but the input lag isn't. But yeah, with what the 1650 can do, it's not possible to play this game properly. Thanks for watching. This is probably a bit bigger of a video than it needed to be. But you know, I like to test a lot of different settings and so on. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I didn't make anyone blind with all of this crap. And I hope to see this game actually being optimized in the future as well, because it's not down to the 1650 being a slow GPU. Of course, today it kind of is, right? But yeah, the optimization in this game is also terrible. That's been it. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Love you all. Bye-bye.